Hello, everyone, and as always, welcome to Strategy Gaming Dojo, where we find, learn, and play one more turn of the great strategy games. Today we're in Find Mode, and its campaign series, Vietnam. Now, this game is coming out in a couple of days on January 20th of 2022, so on Thursday. From Matrix, you can see here we're on the Matrix Game Store. Now, I just want to say up front, they haven't paid me to do this. Feel free if they want to. I've got a PayPal. I'd certainly take it. But no, they have not. So I'm just highlighting this because I thought some people might be interested in it. Um, for us old fogies, we know these Talonsoft games, the campaign series, very famous series of war games. There was an Eastern Front game, a Western Front game. There was something called Rising Sun, which was obviously war in the Pacific. When I say Eastern Western Front, we're talking World War II, right? And those are actually all bundled up on Matrix now too, into one game. So if you love the old campaign series, you young whippersnappers wouldn't understand. But back in our day, we had SSI, SSG, and then Talonsoft. And that is how John Tiller became a legend in this genre. And part of that was this campaign series, certainly. And it's a hex encounter game. Well, let's go down and just read a little bit about it. It's a new turn-based tactical operational war game that focuses on mid-20th century conflicts in Southeast Asia, anywhere from 48 to 67. Now that 48's interesting because you can play the French in Vietnam if you would like to. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There may be some people out there that have been dying to play French forces in Vietnam. It's possible. Um, it's the hexes are 250 meters across, so as you can tell, you're going to be way down on individual squads on the ground, and, really talking about just individual troops almost. Now it doesn't model all the way down to the individual troop, but you get down pretty small at 250 meters across. Now they go through some of the things that are in the game. The things I think that would differentiate this game maybe from World War II games or other games you played, helicopters are going to be huge in Vietnam, right? Also the terrain. You don't often fight in jungle in most games. Now that jungle, what's it going to do? Of course, conceal you. It's going to be defensive. It allows better ambushes, things like that, to more model what actually happened in Vietnam. Another really interesting thing in this game that I'm not sure we've really seen much, if ever, and that is civilians. This game models civilians, and so you try, because of political ramifications, not to injure or kill civilians, or that can knock off your score. And you don't often see that in games, certainly not World War II games, uh, usually. And so here in Vietnam, that was a big deal, and I'm glad that they modeled that. Now, who are these people? What's going on? Well, unfortunately, John Tiller, of course, passed, but he long ago left Talonsoft and started his own company, John Tiller Software. And this game, all of the John, if you played a John Tiller game recently, um, it's almost identical systems. I mean, if you know John Tiller and you've played John Tiller, this is all going to take you about 10 minutes to figure out what's a little bit different. He essentially took the systems he created, which then went on to kind of be a lodestone for all other war game makers after that, um, and he just took them to his own software company, right? So these are some fans of the campaign series. They made a Middle East game. Now, I don't know if it's exactly the same developers, but they made a Middle Eastern game that I know a lot of people liked and was popular. And now they're going to do this Vietnam game. They are eventually going to do an East Front game. And I can tell you that East Front game, the original campaign series East Front game, those Stalingrad scenarios are some of the most fun I've ever had playing computer games ever. They're really fantastic. But anyway, they're going to make an East Front 3, is what they're calling it, and then eventually a Cold War game, or at least that's what they're planning. But let's go look at the game itself. And sorry, I had to keep this off here because it likes to play background music. And if you hear that, and you can see here, in memory of John Tiller, they know from whence they came, certainly. But I'm going to make sure this music is off. I've got to click off this. And there we go, and now we'll go full screen. Okay, so here's the game, and I'm going to just hit play scenario. There is also a very robust editor, is my understanding. I haven't really looked at that, but it's a very robust one, I've been told. Okay, so when you pop up here, like every good tiller game or modeled off tiller game, you are going to have an absolute massive number of scenarios. It's just something he's always done in his games, and those that have followed behind him have done as well. And there are more coming. Like I said, the editor is big, and I think that people will jump in, and you'll never run out of content if that's what you desire. So anyway, they do have these 4 boot camp episodes: learning the ropes, building a fire base, helicopters. So they're going to try to lead you through this. Now, let me just tell you, I'm going to go ahead and hit play scenario because I want to make sure we don't have music in the background. Nothing more annoying than that. Okay, we're going to be side A, I guess, and we'll make the computer the AI side B. And then I'll go down here to our options as quickly as I can. Okay, I'm going to, well, let's just look over this. I'm gonna hope the sound isn't on. I thought I turned it off last time. Well, I guess we'll see. Situation. So they're going to give you a situation, a mission, execution, political. All right. So welcome to Dacto, newbie. So you want to be a gung ho military commander? Yes, I always have been. Well, first, this scenario will teach you to move your units, so on and so forth. You get a SMEAC. SMEAC, mission execution political. You get it. Your mission will be to move the infantry company along the road as it provides the best movement capabilities and advance towards the DACTO 2 airfield to secure for future operations. Okay, execution. They'll move down the road, blah, 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 to secure it. Political. Now, this is what I was talking about. The Viet Cong and their command exploit civilian casualties by American fire for propaganda purposes. So warn your troops to be careful when civilians are nearby. And I think these are some civilians out here. Okay, so then you can see command control, so on, so forth. All right, you always in tiller type games, you get the box pop-ups at the start of your turn that tell you things that you need or should know, and then it tells you, hey, it's your turn. Okay, let's go up here to the options. I just want to make sure I've got the sound turned off. Nope. I think I just turned them on. Okay, well, I did have it off, so that's good. All right. Now, when you come to a John Tiller game, and like I said, if you've played Tiller type games, you know this setup very, very well. I will say thank you to the developers here for kind of sectioning these out. But in his games, you have 2 different places to pick things, really. You can do it all by a menu system up here. So, like assault, anything that you could do on assaults here, units, anything you could do, it's all in the menus up here. Then there are also buttons that correspond almost directly to the menu. Now, it's very seldom you have something that's in the menu and is not down here, or vice versa. If we go to all, you can see all of the buttons. Now, if you're new to his system, do not let this overwhelm you. Within a couple of hours of you playing this game, it'll be second nature. You'll know where everything is, what you need to click. It's not as hard as it may appear here. I did do his one of the Civil War games for John Tiller. I also, I think, did a little basic startup of how to play Tiller games on the channel. So go look at those. If you just go through the one that I did that's kind of a basic, how to get started, you'll understand this, although the graphical representations are slightly different. Now, before anybody starts typing in the comments, I don't like the graphics. I know that that's the major objection to games of this type. Look, you can play this with NATO counters if you want. And if we go up here and we'll go down to, counters. Counter style. You can do it standard or alternate. Counter stats. You probably want those on the counters if you can get them. You can also do NATO. Okay, we've already got that selected. So you may say, why is that not out here? Well, this is always how I've played campaign series games. I find the little army men kind of charming, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I can tell what's going on in this game, unlike the Tiller the John Tiller software games themselves, where I never play on 3D, quote unquote 3D, but I do on the campaign series because I kind of like these. And you can put the little bases on here, you can get some information on there. But if you don't like this, there are 9 different zoom levels. And so let's go all the way out to the top by hitting the 9 on the keyboard, and you get kind of the big overall picture here. Now, some of these scenarios get massive, massive. And so don't say, well, what in the world is going on here? You will use all of the terrain in some of these scenarios, certainly. 8, we come in a little closer and you can see the NATO symbols here. 7, 6, you get all the way down here and you could just play it by the NATO symbols like that. Or, well, you can get even that close. Okay, a little closer in even. And then you can see the quote unquote 3D, the different zoom levels. And I just always like to play these games like this. Now, you have all your buttons down here. You've got air support, you can click on artillery support, helicopters, you can load troops on, take them off. Everything in these games has been meticulously researched. That's kind of the drawing card, right? You don't buy these for the graphics, you buy them to learn a little bit of something about the war. Okay, and you see the little village over here. Isn't that nice? Looks like a city builder. Well, not exactly. And then you got the civilians out here. But in his games, you look over here, or the campaign. I'm going to stop saying his games. He didn't make this one. Uh, Campaign series. You can see this has always been the setup since all the way back in 2000 when I was a cherub-cheeked youngster. Morale, strength, everything's based on 100 action points. You have an assault score, a defense score, and a fire cost. That goes into the action. So you can see you would be able to fire 3 times with this group each turn. Or if you move, the fire cost is 32, and through different types of terrain, you have different modifiers. And, all of these games are set up the same way. You have base levels, right? Then you have morale. You have the base strength. You have morale. Then you have all kinds of different modifiers, both bonuses and penalties, based on the terrain, based on the height levels. You can see here we're seeing a little bit, and I've got the contours turned on. Again, I know it's not readily apparent. But this, you can see we go up a rise to the airfield. That looks like the airfield over here, and indeed it is. We've got more civilians out here we're going to try to avoid. And you can see this is probably jungle. But down here, if we go to map, right, you can see there's all kinds of different modifiers we can and we can visually see them on the map. So this is what was this, morale modifier? So what this is doing is when you're in villages, you see the 333, when you're in the camp or in villages, you get a plus morale modifier. Why is that? Well, the Americans really preferred to have a lot of cover, as you might imagine. Um, and so once they get out here on the airfield, they're kind of sitting ducks, so it hurts their morale. Again, it's all bonuses and penalties. What's this one? What's this one? Come on, pop up. Let's get back on that. This is concealment, okay? So this tells you how much concealment you would have in each different type of terrain. Okay, cool. Combat modifiers, just various combat modifiers added all together to tell you, this is probably harder to attack up here, right? And so there's so many modifiers in this game. Hence, this is just telling you the different thing. PT stands for road for whatever reason. Up, hey, we're moving up. So it'll tell you when there are barricades or different impediments or a road, something like that. But anyway, I'm not going to go through all of these. Obviously, there's all sorts of different buttons. You can do things like, I don't know, what is this? Artillery support. You click on this, it says no artillery units available. But if there were artillery units available, it would pop up here in a box. You could select them, it would automatically go to them, and you could fire them if you want. Let's just click on these guys. Now, this is a leader in this campaign series. Is a little bit different than some other games. You have individual representation of your leaders. So this is one of your leaders. I think that's his command score. So this is him. We could find out more about him if we wanted, but let's say we wanted to take him and these guys, this infantry 67A, and move them into the village. Well, there they go. They look like little army men back in your sandbox when you were a youngster. You just move them out here, and that's why I like to keep the 3Ds on. I just kind of like it. Um, so anyway, I just wanted to kind of show you this game. I wanted to show you what it looked like, what's going on, because it is the brand new release this week from Matrix or in wargaming in general. And I know some people have been looking forward to this one. Vietnam has not been, put out there often, and when it has been, it hasn't necessarily been good. There just aren't that many good Vietnam games. So if that is an area of war that you are interested in, you may be in heaven here. Especially if you like the old campaign series, because this game will be very historically based and should be a lot of fun. Now, I would be happy to play it on the channel if there's enough interest for that. Just let me know. Let me know in the comments if you want to see more. We can play through the first boot camp episodes or something and do kind of a let's play tutorial sort of thing. Just let me know. I'm happy to do it. Or if nobody gives a damn, we we can play something else certainly. So anyway, this has been Strategy Gaming Dojo. I'll talk to you next time. Have a good one.